This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. William Wordsworth's vision of childhood is reflected in his poems We Are Seven and Alice Fell or Poverty, where he describes his childhood experiences. From the two poems, it is evident that these childhood experiences continue to influence him throughout his adult life. For instance, both poems show evidence of some visionary powers that Wordsworth encountered in his infancy and childhood. Nevertheless, these experiences seem to differ as portrayed in each of the two poems. The impact of childhood experiences in his adult life indicates his understanding of the psychological relationship between the adult state of mind and childhood perceptions of self, and that this relationship changes as he grows up. Criticism has emerged over Wordsworth's poetical childhood, as displayed in the two poems. However, there have been limited efforts in synthesizing the poet's differing portrayals of childhood into one basic concept. The proposed research will attempt to develop a comprehensive examination of the poet's vision of childhood and its impacts on adult life. It seeks to determine whether the transcendental childhood mind presents evidence of innate powers that function to unite the natural world and its uncertainties throughout the poet's life. Background. Born on April 7, 1770, William Wordsworth played an important role in the rise of the Romantic Age in British literature and poetry. Specifically, the joint publication he released in 1798, known as Lyrical Ballads, is considered the most important publication in the rise of Romantic literature in the United Kingdom and Europe. Wordsworth was born in Cockermouth, Cumberland, in what is now the Lake District of northwest England. The poet obtained poetic lessons from both his father and younger sister, both of whom loved poetry. His first publication was a sonnet published in a European magazine when he was attending St. John's College, Cambridge. In 1791, Wordsworth left the college with a Bachelor of Arts degree. He traveled widely in Europe, visiting Italy, the Alps, Switzerland, and France. Romanticism sought to revolt against the European traditions that were largely based on aristocratic schools of thought. In literature, Romantic authors and poets emphasized nature, children, and women and sought to break away from the aristocratic perception of nature. They also emphasized pure nature and human psychology. However, there is evidence that some poets and authors, especially Wordsworth and Allan Poe, attempted to introduce an emphasis on supernatural powers and their impact on human psychology. The childhood perception of nature portrayed by Wordsworth is an indication of this poetic style during the era. Thesis. The researcher is going to discuss Wordsworth's vision of childhood in We Are Seven and Alice Fell or Poverty in terms of fragility, poverty, and philosophy of life. Study questions. How do the children portrayed by Wordsworth perceive nature? How does Wordsworth present the children in his poems? Does the poet's portrayal of the poetic children present the actual image of nature? If yes, how much? What is the significance of the picture of childhood in the poet's life? Why does the poet seem to place an emphasis on childhood experience in his poems? Significance of the study. The study aims at reviewing the old presentation of childhood in Wordsworth's poems and compares it with the current picture of childhood. In addition, the study seeks to introduce the concept of poetic childhood and its impact on later life to modern poets. Did you like this Wordsworth's vision of childhood in poems We Are Seven and Alice Fell or Poverty sample? To get more works like this one, make sure to check out the database of academic paper examples at ivypanda.com. You will find thousands of samples for all your study needs.